Paintball nerd.
Today's guest on Paintball Nerds Fun 5 started playing paintball in 1997. He went pro with Strange in 2002. From there, he played with the Jacksonville Raiders. And then in 2008, he joined his current team, which is Tampa Bay Damage. He's got 8+ pro wins. He plays the 10-men with Chicago Aftershock. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, Daniel Holliday.
Hey, Isaac. How we doing?
Hey, Daniel. Good, man. You know, I'm really impressed by your career because, you know, I look at when I left paintball and, you know, you were playing when I left paintball and you're still doing
you're
it.
an Iron Man, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're playing in the NXL, you know, in your late 20s, however old you are now.
Yeah.
You look young.
Ageless.
But
yeah.
you know, you're still doing it after these many years and you're playing the 10-man. You're just getting after it in all areas.
Yep. I just like paintball. Yeah. I'm passionate about paintball in all forms. Yeah. Like, just played with you, 10-man. Had a good time.
Yeah.
And turned out we won. So that's a plus. But
You're,
that's
and you're killing it in all areas, man. Like you just got second place at World Cup with Damage. So like you're at the top of your game still.
Yeah. I'd like to think I could be a little bit better, but I think that's like the never ending, like struggle is like, well, yeah, I've always been humble, but I've always been able to see myself at a high, like, I don't know, maybe self-aware and like realize, okay, I could be better in here in this area. I could be better here. And that's like, that's kind of a driver for me. So like knowing that I still got potential, I know I'm weak in this spot. I can strengthen that, this aspect of my game. And, you know, I haven't hit a plateau basically in my mind.
There's very few like you. I mean, I could name probably just on one hand. You got the Dynarats. You know, you got Alex and Yosh and Ryan. You know, they've been doing it as long as you. You got Shane Howe.
Yep. Gold chain.
Yeah. That's 4. And then you. Who else? I mean, who else has been in it since the early 2000s and plays all formats?
Yeah, all the formats. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't even think about that. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
Either you love paintball or you are a paintball nerd or both.
Yeah, definitely a nerd. We talked a little bit, so like, you know, I'm a little bit nerdy about certain everything in life. Yeah, really. I just really try to be analytical, but I'm just curious. And then paintball just happens to be something that started playing at, and none of us got into the game back in those days. For any, you know, I didn't know it was even like was going to be a legit sport or like a legit, you know, income. So it just, I'm passionate about it. I used to always say, you know, I used to be like, I don't like paintball. I just like winning. And that I can say, honestly, that's probably a lie now. Cause you know, I generally like paintball. It's one of the few things or sports that I played where when you're in it. And because it forces you to be in it. Just like if you go to like a comedy show or something like that, like you can't hold back laughter if something's funny. Like, so like when you're in a paintball game, like you're so zoned up because pain is the greatest teacher and you want to win. So like that's kind of, it forces you to stay in that space. Yeah. Which is kind of a struggle with me, a little ADHD with everything else in life. Yeah.
Well, the lessons in paintball are addicting, right? Like, because when you learn a lesson in paintball, there's, like you said, there's a little bit of pain associated with it, and that's an addicting feeling. It's like, oh, okay, boom, it's in my brain now, and I can't do that again.
That's just like touching a hot stove. Like I tell my kids or whatever, and like I had one kid there, you could tell him like, okay, you know, don't touch a hot stove, and you know, he'd be like, okay, that's dangerous, whatever. The other one, you know, that was one like my wife would be like, don't touch, and I was like, no, he's the one that's got to feel it. And pain is the greatest teacher. It's it ingrains it in your brain. Your brain, before you even will consciously think about it, your brain will be like, no, you don't want to do that because thing's hot, it hurts.
Yeah, but because paintball the pain is so temporary, it forces like this addictive sense of like of wanting to improve. You know, like I want to go out there and not do that again and do it a better way. And I think that's why it's so fun. You know.
Yeah, and it's because my other son, he plays. Ironically, he plays like a ton of airsoft like every weekend, like probably as much paintball as I play. He plays airsoft, which is a weird choice, considering who his dad was and what I offered him.
Agreed.
I'm like, you can play
Yeah.
paintball and have the best everything, play every day, whatever it's that. And he chose airsoft, and I was like, well, actually, you didn't hear me right. I'll say it one more time. You can play. But he's just really into it, and it's I mean, those things hurt, I guess, a little bit, but it's nowhere near what paintball does, and
Yeah.
the pain aspect is the best part about paintball, because it forces you to be in the moment.
Yeah. I think airsoft is really cool if you want to pretend war. There's nothing better, right?
Yeah, and that's kind of how we probably how you got into paintball, how I got into paintball. Like everybody I want to be a sniper in the woods with a ghillie suit and stuff like that. But
yeah,
and they get to play that game because it didn't exist back then. But it's just it's evolved so much that it's nothing like that anymore. It's more of a chess mind game. It's one of the few sports where you're constantly evaluating within like 3-second intervals. Am I offense, defense, and you have to constantly have that kind of going in your head. And then what's mitigating risks and maximizing opportunities, and then just the brothers or whatever, playing with a team and like building out with people, and they really are like the people I played with. If you've seen the roster, I've played with the same people since I was like maybe 15, 16 years old. So like these people are they're like more brothers than my actual brothers. So being able to grow through like the losses and the wins, it's a really an emotional thing, and it's something I owe to them. Yeah. So when you win, it means a lot. When you lose, it means a lot. So it's just a whole lifestyle.
Well, over these past couple decades, Daniel, I mean, you've been in it for a long time, and one of the beautiful things about paintball is we get to travel, and we get to see things, and we get to experience things, and build up a lot of amazing memories. It's probably the most valuable aspect of the sport.
Yeah, and it's something that like I don't know what your situation was like growing up, but like I didn't grow up rich. I didn't have money. There was no way that I was able to go out of the country. It was just that Europe was something that rich people did. It's like so getting the opportunity, to be able to play in like different countries and travel the world, it's more valuable than school, or like my youngest son, I bring him everywhere. We travel a lot, and he's cultured, like legitimately. I grew up, I'm originally from Memphis, Tennessee, and then down here in Tampa, and so that's kind of a country lifestyle, a country family. Like my dad talks like Sam Elliott kind of thing, so it's some people can't like it. They're like, I don't know what your dad just said. I was like, I think I haven't left.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't leave the country until it was for paintball. I mean, the first place I went abroad was Malaysia, I believe, or Amsterdam.
Yeah, that's a big one. Yeah, Malaysia would be a big one. I think the first time I really like kicked out like way outside my like comfort zone was maybe 2003 or 2004, and Russian Legion people like contacted me. They had like whatever management people that handled things for them. This is back when they had a lot bigger funding or a lot more financial well-being, and they called me on they messaged me on like a Tuesday, PB Nation of all places, and then they're like, hey, we want to see if you want to come out and play Russian Legion for the next year. We want to know if you can fly out Thursday. And I was like, I went back and I talked to my wife, and I was like, yeah, I think I should probably do it. And she's like, yeah, but you don't have a passport. And I was like, yeah, I don't have a passport, or like it's cool, we can handle it. And literally got email on Tuesday and flew out Thursday with a full visa and passport. They got everything for me. And I was like, well,
holy
and then
cow.
I was out there for almost 3 weeks. Yeah. And then I was going to play for them. And then, it's just cold. It's like negative 35 in Moscow.
I didn't know that you ever tried out for Russian Legion.
I went over there, and they're all like really awesome dudes, and the facilities are I like their program. Like it's a real like true professional sports. Like they had like a fitness guy there that was doing all sorts, developing like programs for everybody working out. And then we're playing pretty much every day, and I was 100% gonna play with them. And then I just got super homesick. It's the first time I've ever been in the country. Then they're like, all right, you spent like 3 or 4 weeks here. We want you to spend like 8 weeks total. You can break it up and this, that. And then we talk about pay and stuff like that. But I was kind of like I was kind of like all on board, but really I was like, man, I just want to get on that flight. And, so I was like
Just get out of here.
promised them the world, yeah. And then I still kind of like struggled with it, but I kind of like promised them the world just because I didn't. I was like, maybe these guys might get really pissed off the last day or whatever if I tell them I'm not interested, and and then just cancel my flight or something like that, and then I won't be able to get home. So yeah, that's probably the only time I maybe have scumbagged anybody really.
Well, I mean,
I
you had
got
a
on the
family,
flight
right?
since I landed. Yeah, no, yeah, I had a kid when I was senior year in high school. So
that's rough, dude, to be in Russia like
yeah,
that much when you have a kid and wife. Like,
yeah, it's when I look at it now, it was important for like for my well-being or like becoming the person I want to be, or I don't know,
sure,
cultured and understand, like, because everything you see on the news now isn't exactly the way it really is, or it's and then just knowing all those guys like Krill is like awesome, dude. Ironically, they seem to like live here, like maybe like 20 minutes away because they're always at the field.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, they're all really cool. I like the team. That obviously they're awesome players, and yeah, it was a cool opportunity. Other than that, I've always I just like winning with my brothers, like my friends. Like it's a different feeling. I think that was the year maybe J-Rab or Marcelo went to Russians like that time, and I stayed with my boys basically.
Yeah,
it was cool.
Well, Daniel, what's a memory that really sticks out for you in paintball?
Sounds really cliche, but just winning first World Cup, and is more like I'm
what
not.
Year was that?
Yeah, 2011, I think. Yeah, against the Russians, ironically. And it was like we had won like the event right before then in New Jersey against Dynasty, but it's that winning New Jersey, like I remember like that camera people coming up and be like, oh, how does it feel? Blah blah blah. And I was like, it's like it was just kind of it wasn't that great of a game, or whatever. But like the World Cup, when it was World Cup, a few thousand people in the stands and stuff like that, and the whole webcast going, and then also it was a validation thing for me, honestly. So
yeah,
I think a lot of pro players or people coming up in the paintball ranks or whatever you want to call it, their goals are like maybe misaligned, where some of them that like their goal is to become pro, and it's like I don't really consider you pro until you won a pro event, so it's like and winning World Cup was one of those times where I was always pretty humble. I'm still humble now, obviously. Try to not be overly emotional. That was one of those times where like I hung the flag, for the final point, and you need to keep your goggles on because I got like tears in my eyes, and I held it there for I held the flag there for like maybe like 4 seconds, just like close my eyes, like fucking finally, like that was like a weird validation thing. And I was like, okay,
yeah,
this is cool. And then I just kept the goggles on for a bit, so no one saw me tear up.
Of course, don't let him see you cry.
No, I don't cry. No tear ducts.
So, is there any particular moments in that game that stood out, or just the flag hang?
I think the game like was always kind of going in our side. Maybe like the biggest like standout that I saw, like not even on like my part, but like seeing the come up of like, because that was like maybe the first year we had Jacob Edwards and Keith Brown, and they were young kids. I think they were Jacob was like 14 and Keith was maybe 15, and those guys just like balling out, and like, and I think maybe like the fourth point in, it was absolutely like the Russians' point to win, and then Jacob just made it's an awesome like inside route and just like bunkered out like one dude in Dorito, and then the next guy in Dorito, and then just turned and smoked the snake in the head in like maybe like 6 seconds it seemed like, and it was like, yeah, that kid's he's got confidence, and he's been playing since he's like 10, and it's got obviously his brother's a big influence in that realm, and he hasn't slowed down at all. I don't think maybe him and Tyler Harmon are probably were like the 14-year-old, super young phenoms, and so they're still young. They still got years, and they're nasty.
Oh yeah. I mean, if they maintain their health and all that, they can. You can play X-ball for a long time.
Yeah,
but like I look at it. Another one of those guys that's been in it for a long time is Ryan Moorhead.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, get the hair. Yeah,
You know,
I was talking about.
yeah,
Like,
so
must be condition your hair. Yeah.
it's salon quality all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
But I talked to him the other night, and
Mhm.
it's like, I don't know how you guys do it, because after the 10-man, I'm kind of rickety, I'm stiff,
Yeah,
and you guys play, I don't know, anywhere from 10 to 20 times more paintball in an expo tournament.
yeah,
So I don't
yeah.
know, how do you
It's
do it?
it's I always have the saying, kind of like objects like in motion kind of tend to stay in motion. So like
There you go.
and like how many people you see retire and then all of a sudden like they've worked in factory like all their lives and then 3 years later like they're just stationary and then all of a sudden they have like back problems, surgery, or they pass away like
Yeah.
sadly. But it's so I've always kind of been under. And my dad was, my coach, like growing up in like baseball and stuff like that. So that was like a big influence about like, trying to stay active. I'm definitely a lot more within maybe the last like 10 years or so. I've been, okay, I need to probably be in the gym a little bit.
Yeah.
So, and then, but yeah, no, just the impact on like, your back hurts a little more. A lot of people have knee problems. I've had like one knee problem but it was like more just like a one-time thing, like a torn meniscus and like a slight tear, like ACL thing.
Yeah, just an injury.
But other than that, like knees are pretty awesome. When I played on Strange early on, I had like a ton of like just diving wrong and just like putting out my hand and just dislocating shoulder. That's like a super common thing for paintball players. And then that was when I first got into like working out, and I was like, because the doctor's like, okay, you can have surgery and you'll be out for 3 to 4 months after soldier surgery. And I was like, no, that's not a thing. He's like, or you can just work out the muscles around it. So then I was like, okay, well, that sounds a lot cooler because then I don't have to take as much time off. And then I just got into like the whole workout thing. And then now I'm just getting back into it maybe the last like heavy within the last year or so. But no, I mean, to say that shit don't hurt, like after like an event or so, that would be a lie. More, I have like lower back like soreness and stuff like that, but it's all like muscular stuff. And ironically, I think it's just from running, just because if you're sprinting, you're literally stomping off the ground, trying to create power or force off the ground. And I think that's what kind of does that. And maybe if I did like more core strength, like training when I was big into working out, I'd be in a better situation. But I mean, I'm not in pain now or anything like that. But yeah, after the 10-man that we played, I was kind of like, no, I was good. It's
well, paintball is like the fountain of youth, man. It's like keeps you fit, keeps you moving, like you said.
Yeah, things in motion tend to stay in motion. So like, kind of like if you just kind of adopt that attitude to like, I'm always outside. So like, whether it's paintball or something else, like at my house, I'm out doing something, and yeah, I don't know. I think you should probably sweat at least once every day doing something.
Yeah. It's healthy.
Yep. And then my diet's probably really rare. I don't know. Probably a lot of people do know. On the team, everyone definitely knows it. Like I only eat chicken, fish, potatoes. Like I've never had a steak in my life. Don't eat red meat at all. Not a choice. I just got stuck at a really young age, just eating dinosaur chicken nuggets and Kool-Aid. So like my mom.
Are you interested in steak at all?
No, not at all. I mean, I think I've gone too far. I just got to keep the streak alive. We do go like my wife will like set up like dinners. We went like the other night to like a expensive dinner place, and it's like it definitely feels kind of awkward. Like when you're like, hey, can I have the chicken fingers and fries? You're like,
can I get chicken tendies?
Yeah, and then a couple places have been like, no, that's like our kids menu. I was like, just charge me the $50 or $60 just give me what I want. Yeah, like we're gonna spend money. I'm not trying to scumbag you. Yeah, but yeah, and then
Man. So if we went to Charlie's Steakhouse, you wouldn't get like a fillet, even if it was well cooked.
No, we went after we won World Cup in 2011. We did go to Charlie's, and that was like probably the one time where we had to like argue with the person about like give them the chicken fingers, and like one of our pit guys, Pops back in the day. I don't know if you remember him, but like his son was like pitting for us, and was like, here, Dylan, you order the chicken tenders, I'll order the thing, and because he was like, I don't know, maybe 14 or something like that. But yeah, no, at a certain point I was like, we got like 15 dudes here, we're gonna spend $8,000. Like, you're not gonna just give me the chicken fingers or whatever. Like, I was angry. I was like, and then but yeah, it all worked out. I'm here.
You should say, just so there's no confusion,
Yeah.
just say tendies. I would like chicken tendies, please.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Do
like-
you have them shaped in dinosaurs, like a T-Rex or raptors?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Daniel, over the past several years, I mean, you said you've been playing with the same people basically since you're 16, but do you have a favorite teammate?
The one, like, as far as like on the field and on the field and off the field, as far as like the person I talk to the most about, just because, as you know, this is a weird way to live, or I don't know, a weird choice and like lifestyle.
Life.
Yeah. So like everybody has like struggles, especially if you don't come from money. You know, am I doing the right thing? Am I doing my family? Like, you know, I had a kid in high school. Like, what am I doing? You know, Chad is probably like the one that like I can kind of like bounce off or vent to or whatever, and be like, hey, like, how's life going for you? And I'm like, yeah, and vice versa too. So like, you know, and those are like support. You know, those are, they're my brothers, so you can be real, and like they can. Sometimes I can get away with in my own head and just get like overly like or in the past I've gotten like overly like, negative about something, or yeah, so like when you have those people that are there to like ground you and be like, no, it's not like that, like you know, everything's good, you know, what are you worried about? And that's probably like the one like biggest like becoming an adult like over the years, like I've understood is like just being appreciative of like what I have, you know. So which, I mean, for all, all intents and purposes, like looking at people that I went to high school with, my life's pretty awesome. Yeah. So like when I look at it from outside like that, I'm like, oh, like, dude, it looks rough. Yeah. Or you know, or even I don't know how it's all worked out. I just, anytime I've gotten like stressed before, I've always been like, well, shit's always worked out before, so why think otherwise now? And
well, we're incredibly fortunate to be in paintball and be able to, you know, make that our career. Like, you know, it's like
so
it's
awkward,
like this like never land type thing, you know.
Yeah, who knew? Yeah, like you know, like I said,
I used to
like
be embarrassed.
Like when we start, no, for sure. Like I used to be like that too. Like get on the plane and people like, oh, so where are you going? Where are you going to LA for? And I'm like, consulting. Yeah, like just because it means nothing. Like I'm like, now I don't mind as much. Most of the time I say like paintball, and then they're like, oh wow, blah blah blah, and then like maybe 7 minutes in, I realized that they think I said ping pong. And then I was like,
or pinball.
Oh, yeah, exactly. I was like, yeah, no, the Chinese are really good at that. I was like, oh, okay, we're talking about ping pong. I was like, all right, well, you know, basically I shoot paintball guns at people and travel with that guy, this guy, and there's 2 seats above. And, those are the guys I'm with. I don't know, but I'm not embarrassed about it anymore now. Like neighbors and stuff like that, they wonder like, why does this guy never leave? You know, why is this guy like, you know, home during the weekdays and he can just kind of kick out, and they see me like loading like paintball stuff like that, and they ask, or they, I don't know, how do you ask, like, how do you make money?
Yeah, what are you doing?
Yeah, exactly. No, your goddamn business. Go back in your house, old man. Yeah. But yeah, no, it's you kind of have to explain it. I mean, I'm not rich by any means. I'm rich in experiences and life and
true wealth.
Yeah, and honestly, that's really what the goal is. Like, I'm happy if my life stayed exactly like this, and I got to travel as much as I do, and my wife likes to travel, so we go kind of all over the place. So, and it's one way to learn the world and learn what type of person you are.
Dude, my mom told me when I was younger, when I was embarrassed about, you know, being a professional paintball player, she told me that people work their entire lives to have the lifestyle that I have when they're too old to enjoy it.
Yep, 100%.
And that really shifted my perspective on like, I'm blessed, you know, I get to do this. And, you know, sometimes when you're immature, you don't realize what you have, you know, and that was certainly the case for me. Yeah.
You're always like, you know, I don't know, you see nice cars or whatever the case may be, but it's kind of like, you know, why not me? Or, you know, it's a weird thing in life where you're always trying to think of like, what am I doing wrong where I can't have something like that, which seems really dumb and material.
It's true though,
because it is. When really like, most of the money that we spend nowadays, like as far as like me and my wife, it's usually just traveling to different places we've never been. So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah,
been
I think it's just like a lack of thankfulness, maybe
yeah,
a lack of
100%.
recognition of thankfulness, like to
Yeah.
take time and say, what am I doing?
Hmm. Yeah.
What opportunity do I actually have? What lifestyle am I living?
Hmm.
Taking the time to reflect and be thankful for that, really it opens things up for you,
Yeah, and that's and I have to do that like still to this day. Then like and only like super recently, maybe the last like 3 years, I've been like, life's pretty awesome. Yeah, like
Yeah,
I don't. Yeah, it's and who knew like paintball would become a thing? Like when like I said, when we started, like when I started playing just kind of rec ball in the woods or whatever, and my buddies and trying to, and then I heard about there's like, oh, there's a tournament thing, okay, and it was kind of small scale thing, um, and I won the first one I played in. Um, and then I was kind of like hooked from there, and everybody had like, and then my oldest brother, 7 years older than me, his best friend actually happened to play paintball too. I just never really talked to him, and he had like scuba tanks, and so we're just getting scuba tanks and just trying to play as much as possible. And then it became like a huge network of real events, and then real money kind of came in, and
yeah,
we're still seeing that to this day. And thankful to CJ Baltola is like our team owner, like who makes that happen, because it's pretty near, it's almost near impossible to make any kind of like real life without these like private owners, or like what do you want to call them,
totally.
ambassadors of paintball.
Yeah. I mean, if you play paintball, period, like if you're able to do that, a couple times a month, you're fortunate in life. But if
Yeah.
you can make a living with paintball,
Yeah.
and that's what you love, I mean, you're
Mhm.
literally living the dream. Even if it's not super lucrative from
Mhm.
a balance sheet perspective.
Mhm. Yeah, no, it's yeah, and yeah, like I said, it's not something that make I do other projects like on the side and stuff like that, but for the most part, I kind of pick and choose them like kind of when I want to.
Yeah.
I play paintball maybe maybe 3 times a week.
Mm.
I'll go during the weekdays, even on my own, just to kind of do drills, and then I play with the same guys, like on my team, like on Tampa Bay Damage, like all of us, we all live within 30 minutes of each other. Um,
Mm.
so it's I know a lot of other teams have to like fly in players. I guess we're flying, like we have Rainey now again. And you put this
Yeah.
earlier, but he's really good dude, and he's all in. Yeah. So
if we look outside of the Damage umbrella for a
mm-hmm.
bit, and past or present,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't matter, who would you say was or is your favorite player to watch of all time?
The one that just off the cuff, just trying to think, the one that I actually like will sit there and like watch, and actually like when you're walking, because we kind of walk in the pits, we're busy, we're definitely like Damage tries to stay like within our own group, just because we don't there's a lot of, sometimes people get distracted, and it's always better if you're just like a gang of whatever, your brothers and
Yeah,
stuff like that. But
sure.
games I'll literally like stop and watch, like probably Britnikoff, because he is like a ridiculous just pulls off some ridiculous shit. So like amazing shots, awkward style, even like sometimes you're like that shouldn't work, or that looks weird,
Yeah.
but it's all in all the time, and he doesn't have to do anything crazy off the break. He doesn't have to like run and bolt in the snake. He can run in the snake and get it, but the risk versus or, you want to mitigate risk and maximize opportunity.
Yeah.
And he's really good about, you can kind of see him kind of going in his head, and just reading it and then just reacting off it and pulling off games that they shouldn't win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
Daniel, I see you got some cool memorabilia there behind you.
Yeah, set it up before. All right, yeah, I told you the white called the wall of conceit now.
Yeah.
Well, and
Well, do you have an item there, or maybe that's not on the wall? Maybe it's in your special paintball wardrobe, but something that's a paintball piece of memorabilia that's near and dear to your heart.
I try to not to be like sentimental, but no, that's not right. I think
You are sentimental. Look at
everybody.
all those
Yeah,
medals.
exactly.
Look
Yeah.
at that poster.
Yeah, yeah. No, the poster is probably the coolest one, because I was like,
Yeah,
it actually
that's
says
awesome.
my name, and then it's like I had to steal it from Smart Parts, we're still sponsored by DLX, but I think Adam's cool, Adam Gardner. But yeah, no, this whole thing, I was like, man, I know that right after World Cup, they're just going to end up throwing this away. So like I snuck over there, and I think this is like maybe 2002, and I just like went over there. I was like, there's like banners that had like different players and stuff, and I just act like I was taking down the tent and just took it, rolled it up, and walked on the car. I was like, yeah. Then no, that's pretty cool.
You're like, I'm helping.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. And I was like, I wasn't young. I was probably like maybe 19 or 20 or something like that, if I do the math right. But yeah, I was just like, and then just nonchalant, just go up there and like, well, what are they gonna do with it? They're not taking it back to them. It's just cost. So it's like, I'll have this. Yeah, but
that's cool.
Yeah, and then all the medals, they were actually in the drawer earlier, but it's better for the podcast. Yeah.
But I mean, even after this, I'd still keep them up because it's just a cool, just to walk into a room and then see like a visual representation of your travels and accomplishments it's an awesome thing.
Yeah,
and your kids might appreciate it too.
Yeah, you'd think. Yeah, yeah. No, I used to come home and I'd give them like a medal.
Use them as airsoft targets. Pew, pew, pew.
Yeah. That's not too far off. We came from the 10-man. We just won the 10-man like 2 weeks ago, and I just come home and I like give it to my son. Maybe when they were younger, they thought it was cool, but I got like a 14-year-old and a 20-year-old. The 14-year-old is kind of like, whatever, lame. Or, I don't know.
Throws it.
Yeah. No. Once kids turn like 14, they're like the worst creatures on earth. Like they're the most dangerous creatures on earth. Yeah, too. But I'm 5'8". He's almost 6 foot now, and
oh my gosh!
And he's we do like Muay Thai thing like twice a week, so he's
dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, I'm his dad, so I still got to put it on him a little bit, but and I don't give I always tell him I don't give compliments for shit you're supposed to do. So like if you can, a lot of people over compliment people, and I think it's saturates
too much encouragement.
Yep, and it's just like cursing. It's just like if I say fuck, 1 out of 300 times, whatever, it means more than if I say fuck every two seconds.
True. Yeah, that's what it's meant for. It's meant as an extra emphasis.
Yep. Yeah. I knew when my dad got on me about messing up or growing up, like the practicing baseball. My dad was my coach, and I was like, the odd thing is like most thing I was scared of the most was just throwing a wild ass ball and like past him, because he just make me go get it and or just maybe failure. Yep. And that's a good lesson learned. Yeah. But yeah.
Well, I think failure is very positive for developmental health.
Without a doubt, like failure is the way to success. Yeah. It's like
no participation awards.
Yeah,
that doesn't help.
That's literally like I remember being like a super young kid, and like they had like these coach meetings and talking about the league and baseball, and I remember my dad like that's like one of the first time I seen my dad like flip out in front of everybody, like and he's like no, he's like fuck this, he's like I won't be a part of any of this because you're not teaching these kids shit. And he's like I'm playing the best players, or if your kid sucks, then he needs to be at practice more. He's and also he's like I'm not playing everybody. He's like, and if kids are just going to get trophies for doing nothing, then I won't be a part of it. And that's when he quit coaching. So
yeah. I mean, it's like if you go to school, I mean, you're supposed to go to school, right?
You're supposed to.
It's like getting an attendance award for going to school. It's like you're supposed to be there.
There's and in a lot of ways, that's kind of like how college is kind of turned into. Like if you look at people are always like, you need a 4-year degree to get into this, but it doesn't matter what field it is. It's like, okay, so what?
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
So art? Art then?
Yeah, I mean, that's real. Like I've talked to like some organizations that are like that. And I'm like, man, I don't understand the logic. Would you rather have the guy that read the book for 4 years or the guy that's done the work for the last 4 years? Yeah. Or rather the guy that lived in the real life. Yeah.
It's making people soft, and I don't know if soft is the right word, but that's the word I'm using.
No, I think that's fair, and I think we gotta stop watching like our words as much. We can just say things like how it is, and 100%. Like, and thankfully, I've noticed like a lot of organizations or some of the companies that I like do like some consulting work for, like they're starting to like all they care about is can you actually do what we want you what you do, and. And it's helpful for me because I've never been to college, or anything that I've ever learned is all self-taught just because I have the time. So
Elon Musk, that's how he hires people. It's like, can you do the job? He says, I don't give a damn about your degree. Like he said that.
Yeah. I mean, that's Well, I mean, he seems like a smart guy, so
Yeah,
yeah, and
certainly.
he's failed a bunch of times, so like,
Yeah, you need to.
but his successes, you know, drastically outweigh his failures. And I mean, most people that like small business owners or something like that, they've had multiple businesses that have failed. Um,
Yeah,
I don't know if you want to talk about like Trump or I don't want to get politics, but like you'd say like how many companies has he had go bankrupt? But that's just a
exactly.
tool, you know. Yeah,
Yeah,
and they're learning lessons, and failure is just like pain, not knowing where paychecks can come from
exactly,
next.
dude.
Yeah.
It's all come full circle.
Yep, exactly.
Paintball, pain,
Hakuna Matata.
lessons, failure.
Honestly, paintball. Honestly, like you're probably I know 100% that you're like this. So like paintball has taught me like so many more life lessons about how to talk to like a team or like a group of guys that I've never met before, or like how to get performance out of people, and
Yeah,
without without being a cookie cutter corporate. It doesn't mean dick. Like most of the time it's like, man, this guy just over complimenting this guy's employee. I'm not like, what does any of this mean? Yeah. But I think that's the real driver, honestly, is just people getting like I don't know if money's actually the big driver nowadays with employment. It's really just kind of like recognizing people for things, and you can only like legitimately recognize people if you're not over complimenting them. So
exactly. Because like you said earlier, if you say too much of something, if it's over, you're overdoing it on the
lost value.
It doesn't mean anything.
Exactly.
You lose value 100%.
Mm-hmm.
So, Daniel, what does it take, man? If you were to give someone advice, I mean, you've been playing at the top for almost 2 decades, actually literally 2 decades.
Yeah, wow.
And you play 10 man, you're winning that. I mean, you're just crushing it at paintball. What advice would you give to someone coming up?
I mean, this isn't the Jackson 5. Like you can't. This isn't like maybe you can't say like, oh, this is a. You're not going to be able to like moneyball this or like analyze or create analytics. Like you have to have a passion for it. I think we probably all have some kind of syndrome where we're like just overly obsessed about whatever we get into. Like, so even like stupid little things, but like everything that I get into, I get overly obsessed about, sometimes to a fault, but like, it's, and that's kind of what you have, the headspace you need to be in. I think, if you're talking about like, what's the best way to become like, get into the pro ranks or whatever. It's probably just to be the snake guy, the fast snake guy. Because that's, I think if we look at that statistically, like as far as like pickups from like divisions, like semi-pro or whatever the hell, because there's a million divisions, which is another problem that I don't like. Because back in the day it was amateur B, amateur A, and then pro. That was it. But
well, there's novice and rookie too, but
yeah, I guess locally, I guess, or something like that. I just remember MPPL, amateur B, amateur A.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, if you're saying like how what's the best most likely guy to get onto like in the pro scene or whatever, it's the kid that is willing to do the job that no one wants to do. Like they have the body to destroy, and they can run into snake, and then just be coachable, be self-aware, be honest with yourself. This is probably the biggest thing, and watch a shit ton of video. Like I know you watch a lot of videos because we know exactly the same scenes when we're talking about like 10 men. You're like oh, like that was like back in LA with Marcus and then Kenny Clamper and Billy. Hyperball versus Dynasty, actually. Yeah, and like I can recall those. I can recall like certain aspects of like things from 20 years ago of games that I've watched better than I can recall like my brother's birthday. Like I don't know my oldest brother. I don't know his birthday.
Oh man.
Yeah, so I just get a text message. Hey, your brother's birthday's coming up. Okay, cool.
Put it in your calendar, dude. What are you doing?
Yeah, I did have an iPhone thing. It was like a revolving thing, and then I don't know what happened, but I know my wife's birthday. I know my kids, and I know my brother.
That's all you need.
My brother, 2 years older than me. He's got the same birthday as me, though, so that's easy.
Yeah. Well, I think you're right, man. You got to love the game. You got to be obsessed with it. Those are obvious ones, but I like what you said about be willing to do the job that no one wants to do. It's not that no one wants to do it, but
they have the body to destroy. Like I can wreck your body a lot more.
Exactly.
like there's a kid on the Killers, like a local semi-pro team, and like in CFP ground, like it's not that great right now. Like so, it's like and so like when I go out there on Sundays and like, but that kid would run to the snake every single game, and I was like, and like that kid's tough. Yeah, like
Yeah.
I was like, 'cause I'm running and shooting everywhere. I'm not diving in anything on an off weekend and risking body getting hurt or something like that. But
Yeah.
So like he's got a good frame, fit, and he just is willing to do the job that no one's, and it to be coachable. Like I think the biggest thing people lack, not just in paintball, just in life, is just self-awareness, like knowing like,
Yep.
And I think some people probably lean on their strengths so much to overcome their weaknesses. And not to say that I'm not guilty of that way back in the day. I would definitely be like, okay, I'm just going to bulldog this and just force this game. Rather than just playing it methodical chess-like game.
Word. Well, Daniel, what would you say that you're most thankful for that paintball's given you?
Man, it's gonna sound, because we're just talking about it being embarrassing, but like paintball honestly is an identity to me. Like if I didn't play paintball, like that's sad. Yeah, I don't know how to describe myself. Yeah, how would it describe consultant, which means nothing. But it's like I don't know. Like I think probably most people that know me, maybe not in the paintball realm, like my family or friends that don't play paintball, which are few and far between. I think when you're in it like full force. So like all your friends just happen to play paintball, maybe at different levels, but they're friends, nonetheless.
Yeah.
But I'm the paintball guy. Oh, that guy, he plays paintball. Yeah. So yeah, it's an identity to me. It's it'll be a sad day, which I think probably my body will give up before my mind does, which is probably like the most depressing thing, when your body gives up before your mind. Yeah, your mind does. And then maybe looking back and be like, man, should have done this, should have done that. Yeah. And YouTube has pretty much got the whole grandfathered in. You can see all the games where you fucked up. Yeah. So.
Well, I think it'll be a while. Like Rosie, Robert
Brad?
Rosie.
Oh, okay, no. From New York.
Yeah, he still plays. He's 60 something.
I didn't know that. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, but he plays 10-man. So.
Okay, I played against him when he played on NYX.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
He's still doing
of course.
it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, he had a sick cocker back in the day. Well, maybe not by that time. Yeah, there's a lot of cool.
So you can still do it, man. You can still in different iteration. Let's say you can't play competitively anymore. You can't even play 10-man. You can still go play walk-ons if you're
and you'll still get that forced zone in. Like there's not, you could have a ton of home life problems, but not have but if you're forced into a focus or a zone in a paintball game, like you don't think about anything else. Yeah. And I think it's kind of an escape emotional.
Yeah, it forces you to live in the moment, which is it's a big challenge these days. We struggle with living in the past or dwelling on the future.
Yeah, social media is important, but it's also it was sold to us as bringing everybody together, but it's actually disconnected a shit ton of people. But I guess you're trying to solve that problem.
Us electronically, right?
Yeah. So you can see like my cool home life that looks like it's perfect, and then you're like, why is my life not like that? And it's like, oh, well, no, his life's not like that all the time. He's only just putting good photos up.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
But you're solving that problem right now, the connecting.
I am. I'm trying to.
Good on you. Well, it's working. Yeah. I think the first time I saw your stuff, I was like, this is good. This is niche. It's small, brief. Maybe not this one because I'm talking too long, but it's you get it. You already have all the connects because the biggest thing is you've been there. You know what this means. To play at a really high level, and what it means emotionally to like you and to me, and like especially when you're in that when you're in the game like full force. Like, and Tim, man, you're 100% in it. You're laser focused. I was like, all right.
Yeah,
it's fun.
It was cool to play with you, man. It was awesome.
Yeah, no, it's one of those things where that's the cool thing about 10-man is like you get to play with all these people that like about, and you've watched them play and you've played against them. Like I think probably before that 10-man, the last time I played you as MPPL 7-man.
Yeah.
And probably X-Ball to be fair. but the 7-mans are more memorable, I guess, maybe.
They are.
Yeah.
They are, because there's more on
do
the
or die.
line
Yeah.
that one game,
Yeah, and yeah, it was 7-man and 10-man's like that, but it's so right now, and it's still competitive. It's getting way like a lot more competitive. Like you go on any ICPL, like you'll see there's always like top tier players that are playing there. Like how many people were at the last one we're at a couple weeks ago? There's dynasty guys. Blake was there. 3 or 4 of the infamous dudes.
yeah.
So it's and then Meter from X Factor. Yeah, which he's a pretty badass player too. So,
but there's just a different feel.
Yeah,
like with 10-man, people just have like a pace. Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
It's a lot different.
Yeah, that's what I think. Somebody messaged me like literally right before I came around, like, can you break down like how you meta like a 10-man like style game? And I was like, it's a good question. Maybe I'll make a video, but I was like, just because I'll just say it's a pace. Like you have to understand the pace of the game. Because if you're trying to switch hit from X ball to 10-man, it's not going to go too well. Because you're like, oh, shot 2 guys, I'm going to run down. And it's like, and then there's 8 dudes that just shoot you.
Yeah.
But I do like it when the 10-man games break down to where it's like, a couple bodies got peeled off here and there, and then now it's 3-on-4, and like then that game becomes its own critical, like, don't fuck up kind of thing. I like those high pressure things. So.
Yeah. Right on. All right. Well, Daniel, thank you so much for your time here. Is there anything that you'd like to part with for the paintball community?
Just obviously thanks to Tampa Bay Damage, CJ Batsolas. He's pretty much allowed me to live this kind of lifestyle for as long as I have. I don't think it would not be possible without him. DLX, Social Paintball, GI Empire, Sector Paintball. Those are all the people that make this possible for me. We do have like a clinic coming up soon. Me and you played with LP, but me and LP have been talking about doing a couple different things. So we're going to do like a clinic probably in the next month or so. You can look out for that. The social stuff is Holiday Styles on Instagram is my name. And then on Facebook, just Daniel Holliday. I don't care. People, honestly, kids message me all the time and I'll talk to them for hours. Like just I don't know, just because I like the game that still to this day, like I watch a lot of stuff. Actually, like seeing you do the YouTube thing, I was like, okay, I was talking to LP, I was like, we should do like a paintball thing. And then with his background, we wanted to do, so we'll probably have the channel be called like Shot Theory, and we'll have like paintball aspects of like high level, any kind of competitive shooting sports. So because LP has a pretty decent background in like also other stuff. Yeah. So we'll have like a paintball thing. And then we'll do with his background, we're going to do like semi-mission training, kind of like shoot, no shoot, like real shit. And then I like the whole paintball. I want to do like some paintball breakdown kind of stuff, or maybe even like, and if I could get the footage, then I'd be able to break down like game situational stuff. Because I like that high level play that I don't think that everybody's really understanding yet, and sometimes it's hard to see. I guess it'd be cool if we all shot white paintballs, but. And then I just need to get a better barrel cam. Still rocking the old R7. There's way better stuff out there. I mean, this is a GoPro that I'm on right now. I was like, man, if this GoPro was on a barrel cam, that'd be cat's pajamas. Yeah.
Cool. Thanks, Daniel.
Yep. Thanks, bud.